been going on in the tech music pro world?
I've been working on some pretty good projects. I just did a project for a woman from Norway.
Okay.
And that was cool. She's really
good. What kind of music is it?
I would describe it. This was just solo piano and voice. And I would describe it as kind of classic indie singer-songwriter, maybe something in the vein of Regina Spektor.
Okay.
Or Fiona Apple, if Fiona Apple were really stripped down.
Oh, man, Fiona's my girl. I love her. I absolutely love Fiona Apple. I got Regan into Fiona Apple. She loves listening to Fiona Apple.
What does Regan listen to? It's really cool. So she listens to adult music?
Well, yeah, I guess. She knows a lot of music. I had harped on this a couple of months back. I was on a Twilight Zone podcast, another person's Twilight Zone podcast, and I was talking about how Regan listens to classic rock sometimes, but her version of classic rock is like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Guns N' Roses and Smashing Pumpkins, whereas you and me, our generation, what was classic rock to us? It was like the Beatles and Zeppelin and the Stones,
Yeah, I listened to all that stuff and
But I do get her into she loves Adele. She loves listening to Adele. She loves listening to,
Does she listen to, besides Adele, is she into more pop stuff?
I don't know. She's
Beyonce?
Not I don't think, no. She's not into Beyonce. She's not into Taylor Swift. I don't think she's into Katy Perry or anything like that.
I think she knows more about Greek mythology than me.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know anything about it.
Right now, her latest obsession is that musical Hamilton.
Oh, did you guys go see it?
No, I'm not going to blow $800 a seat on that show.
But she's really into the musical Hamilton. So
she's singing the songs and everything. And she also told me that there's a musical coming out based on the movie Heathers. Have you heard about this?
Heathers, the movie from a long while ago with Winona Ryder.
Yeah, and Christian Slater. They made a musical.
That's cool.
She's interested in that too.
You wait just a minute, Paul. It is ignorant, hateful talk like yours that makes this world a place our boys could not live in. They were not dirty. They were not wrong. They were two lonely verses in the Lord's great song.
Our boys were pansies, Bill.
Yes! My boys are homosexual, and that don't scare me none. I want the world to know I love my dead gay son. Now I've been thinking, praying, reading some magazines, and it's time we opened our eyes. Well, the good Lord made the universe, the Lord created man, and I believe it's all a part of his gigantic plan. I know God has a reason for each mountain and each flower, and why he chose to let our boys get busy in the shower.
Heathers is interesting, actually. It's a movie that's been ripped off countless times, but other movies, what's a good example? Mean Girls, that one with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh yeah.
There was another movie called Jawbreaker with Rose McGowan. These are just ripping off Heathers, really, kind of going back to that original formula.
Do you remember an actress named Rose Byrne?
Yeah, I know who she is. She was in a movie called Sunshine.
Yeah, Sunshine. You watched that? About the expedition to the sun?
I have it on DVD. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, you're talking about the sci-fi one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
She's in it. She's pretty. What is she, British?
I'm not sure, but she's very pretty.
Yeah, of course she's pretty. Yeah. Well, they all are. They're actresses.
I know.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Who's my latest obsession? I was thinking about Valeria Golino, the Italian actress who was in the Hot Shots movies. Beautiful.
Wait, the Hot Shots movies from a long time ago with
Charlie Sheen.
Oh, Charlie Sheen. That's right.
You're thinking of Top Gun, which Hot Shots was a parody of.
Right.
She's like this, she's beautiful, beautiful eyes, beautiful face, curly hair, Italian accent,
Moolah.
She's in this terrible movie that
I don't know how to express.
What were you trying to?
How do you say beautiful in Italian?
Bella.
Bella. Yes.
Actually,
How many do you have? How many do you
are
have
the
in?
first this week. For the rest of the week, I'm recording. I have to record every day.
Damn.
I've got BlissVille, which I'm finishing up now. This will be the last episode of BlissVille for a while.
All right.
So I can focus on the other things. I have the Twilight Zone podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That Twilight show about that zone. I have Extreme Cinema with Andrew, my friend Andrew. I have 3 more. Sorry. Ship to Ship, a Star Trek podcast with David Anderson.
Right.
2 Davids Walk into a Bar, also with David Anderson, where we talk about really, really terrible movies, mainly, I guess. And another one called David and Gene and Roger, a Siskel and Ebert podcast, where we talk about episodes of Siskel and Ebert or whatever show they happen to be doing at the time.
That's interesting.
That's a lot of work.
Now,
how many podcasts do you have, Mr. Saltz?
right now, I mean, I'm just doing On the Odd and Pro Audio Times, and then whatever you have me on as a guest, like
I had a great
idea. BlissVille,
right? Yeah.
And I think I was on as a guest for recently. You, me, and Mark. We were on the other podcast he does. Was it VHS Rewind? We were talking about something.
Yeah. We did a thing with Lydia Chris, and my audio was terrible at that point. So
that was aired on VHS Rewind, right?
Yeah, I can't even believe he put that up. It was nobody could hear me. That was back before.
No, we could hear you. It was cutting out a little bit. But we've had. Look, the fact of the matter is, when you're doing, like you said, multiple connections on a Skype stream, Mark and I interview people and we have problems with them too. They're dropping out.
Yeah.
It's just an imperfect system. But I will say that you getting this microphone is quite an improvement.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know quite what happened. I guess things just fell apart all at the same time.
But are you using the new machine as well?
Yeah.
Oh, you have it in the kitchen?
Yeah. It doesn't take up much space.
So how do you like it?
Going
are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's much better. It's much better, much faster.
Yeah, it's a pretty big screen, right?
Yeah, and it's got more RAM and everything. So it's working pretty well. Windows 10 isn't terrible.
That's great. Elephant Tube looks really good on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. As an excellent video card.
Right. So now, do you... we've talked about for a little while, one thing we could kind of talk about is Astoria, because we both live here in Astoria, NYC area, Queens.
Yeah.
And
how long have you lived here? How long have you lived in Astoria?
Since 1999.
Okay.
Quite a long time. Now, you lived here a long time ago, then you moved upstate, and then you came back.
Yeah, we moved to Astoria in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in an apartment for 17 years.
Right.
And my wife moved in when we got married. She moved into my apartment. And
Wait,
then we moved out in 2010.
You're married?
We went upstate. Yes, I'm married, Mr. Saltz. Sorry, ladies, I'm taken.
He's taken.
I'm taken. And,
so 93 till for 17 years, so until
2010.
2010. Then you moved upstate, and you had Regan.
We lived. Well, no, Regan was born in Astoria.
Okay.
She was technically born in St. Luke's Roosevelt, across the.
Where is that original apartment?
It's 24th Avenue and 28th Street. It's like a block away from Astoria Boulevard, over there by the N.
Yep. Okay.
Nice neighborhood. We were sad to lose the apartment. We thought we were moving on to better things, greener pastures, but living upstate in a house was just terrible. We're not house people. We're not house cats, as I say. We're apartment cats.
Yeah, you, Bronwyn, Regan, and the ghosts up there must have been.
I guess, I don't know.
The
it was kind of a bad move.
The constant sleep paralysis, the constant poltergeist activity, the UFOs, the alien abductions.
Now we're getting into on the odd territory here. Yeah,
I know. Okay, so then
and
we
wound
back.
up we wound up losing all our money.
How?
And so because the expenses, there were a lot. They were it's a small town we were living in, and they nickel and dimed you for everything. High water bills
of this little town upstate.
It's called Brewster.
Brewster.
Putnam. Yeah, Putnam County.
Yeah, I know Brewster. Sure, Brewster
Yeah, it's
North.
about 50 miles outside of New York City.
So how many years did you live up there for?
4 years until we were forced out, and we had to come back to Astoria. So we came back to Astoria, to this house that we live in now, which I know because I practically grew up in this house. This is my friend's house.
Yeah.
And this is where we've been ever since. This is what I like.
Yeah, you're up
Where did you
further-
come from when you first moved to Astoria? Where were you coming from?
I was coming from Manhattan. I lived in 4 different neighborhoods. No, 5 actually. Wait, I lived in 34th, Mercer, 22nd, 18th. Yeah, 5 different places over 12 years.
And then before that,
Long
where were you
Island.
from? So you were from Long Island originally.
Mm-hmm. Green Lawn, which is in Huntington. Have you heard of it?
Huntington, is that? I know the line because I used to work in Westbury.
Oh.
And so the Huntington line was along that line.
Yeah, Huntington is, I guess it's about, by car, maybe an hour. From here, maybe 50 minutes.
Yeah. Probably. So what
Billy Joel is from, like, he has a house in Huntington, on Huntington Bay.
is that, Suffolk or Nassau?
It's Suffolk County, North Shore.
So your experience in Astoria, I mean, is this, do you see living any other place?
I think about this a lot, and I like tropical climates. So if I were to move right now, I'd probably move to Vietnam.
It's kind of warm here right now, actually.
I know. I'm kind of half
temperature
joking,
went
but
up.
I do like to get away, and I find, my work, I do audio mastering, and I have a studio where I live, and it's somewhat solitary, the practice of it. I do have clients-
APSmastering.com for all your mastering needs.
APS Mastering, that's right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I have clients come in, but often I'm here by myself, and I am single now, so there's a lot of time.
Yeah, but you have a really good setup because you're in the center of it all. They come to you. You're easy to find.
Yeah.
You're very easy to get to. That's the
I
great
am.
thing about New York, you know?
And not only that, but Astoria over the years has become a more happening place.
It has.
It's a vibrant place now.
It's become a lot more trendy. It's kind of like what happened to Williamsburg recently, you know?
Yeah.
Now, when we moved to Astoria in '93, the place was still kind of old school. It was settled by Greeks and Italians, so it had a lot of that old world culture to it.
That's right.
But now we've got, Starbucks on every corner and lots of places to get wraps and lots of outdoor dining, and we're getting tattoos and we're getting neck beards and we're getting
Right, there's skateboard
man
shops.
buns.
Yeah.
Skateboard shops, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Astoria. This, it would have to take, it would be a lot of effort to get me to leave. I would have to have like a nice bargain or something like that because Astoria is getting very expensive too.
Right, but my point is, when I initially came out here and it was more of a neighborhood, I was spending most of my time back in the city or then eventually Brooklyn. Over the past 5 years, there's been quite a transition to me spending most of my time here and having friends like you and other people who have located here. And there's just a lot to do. You don't really have to leave anymore. Now I'm even finding friends like who live in Brooklyn and Manhattan enjoy coming out here.
This is why you have to do everything in your power, especially you live in New York City and the New York City limits.
Yeah.
Hold on to your apartment no matter what.
Well, I'm renting. Are you renting or do you own?
I'm renting, of course. Yeah.
Of course,
Renting
I
is
have decent
common
deal.
sense to me because I don't really think you own anything when you buy it. I mean, like, we have certain laws, certain protections in place for us. Homeowners don't, unfortunately. There's no security there. You could lose your house in like 2 seconds. You could be thrown out of your house. And they keep selling this American dream on people, and the American dream is just getting more and more expensive.
It is.
And
It's
also,
also hard to get a mortgage these days.
Yeah, and I believe George Carlin said they call it the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. I want to talk a little bit about some of the music that you're working on. Maybe we can intersperse this episode with some of the stuff you're working on or what you have worked on.
Sure.
And you mentioned who did you mention?
Well,
you mentioned the chick.
Yeah,
right?
this woman, and then I also did.
I'm sorry, this bird. I should call her a bird.
Yeah, I did something for her. Her name is Cecilia, and
You're breaking my heart.
right, and I just worked on it. I also worked on.
Cecilia, you're breaking my heart.
It's funny.
Paul Simon.
Yeah, I worked with another woman named Erin on her. Wow, that's a loud car. You hear that?
I heard it. Mike picked it up. That is a great mic.
That's a muffler. Jeez. Okay.
That's a Flowmaster. It's made. They put them on the backs of the mufflers to make them sound even louder because all these young men love to have loud cars so they can go vroom vroom.
You know, that's how I get my girls.
Yeah. Cruising.
The louder
and
the
stuff.
car, the cooler you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, that rhymes, man.
Right. So, anyway, let me see. What else am I working on? Mastering. So I'm working with a guy named Sean Allen, who does really pretty much indie type of rock music, but he's venturing into a different direction, and he's doing a hip hop album.
Oh, okay.
And he's going by the name Shawnee Dog.
Oh, come on.
And
Is
yeah,
that are you serious about that?
Totally serious. It's really good.
Wait,
too.
so this guy is like what? He's trading in his white heritage for a backwards baseball cap and a lot of gold bling, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It's like yo, what's up?
he's not really blinged out, but like he's really good at what he does. It's catchy stuff. And
I'm sure.
so yeah, he's doing that. He's in LA, and then I'm starting a project soon. I do some business with a studio in Baltimore. They always send me great work. That's Mobtown Studios. And they're great.
So when you're now, are you can you get under contract from like say a label or something? Because I know labels keep their mastering engineers on retainer, right? So you see a lot of like we spoke about this before. You know, people like George Marino, Ted Jensen, people like that.
It's not literally that they're on retainer, but when you have certain mastering engineers of that stature, then they have project managers at their studios who have very close relationships with certain record labels. And yes, there tends to be repeat work from certain labels and producers, just as you said. It's not like officially that they're on retainer, but they're pretty much indirectly, yes. They're like the go-to person for certain people.
And are you finding you're getting this repeat business too?
Well, I'm not working with Adele and Beyonce and stuff, but I will say that I'm very happy with the caliber, the quality of the music that I get. I'm very lucky in that regard. I get good bands. Most of them are, on independent labels. Some of those labels are more, established labels.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I would say that luckily a lot of the music I get is from people who I really respect. So, I mean, I'm not making a fortune doing it, but I'm able to pay my bills and travel,
Do you sit down with your clients and say, what are you going for? What do you want? Or do you listen? Do you give it a listen and say, I know what it needs? Or are they have a specific purpose in mind?
It's just what you said. I think I fell into this because I had a natural sensitivity to understanding how to make something sound better. I know exactly what it needs to sound better. How I'm going to get there could be a little roundabout. It could take some experimentation, but I know when I hear something what it needs. And that's probably the main thing that you need to do when I'm doing mastering, because we're doing the final stage of adjusting, shaping the sound, the tone, the tonal spectrum, the way dynamically how it sits, how it sways, how it's colored, how it's saturated,
right?
How certain elements in a song have to be drawn out. Others might have to be recessed. Listening for problematic things, instrumentation that's not as good as other instrumentation, how to emphasize the stuff that sounds the best in a song, how to make a song just come across as, a clear statement. And sometimes when you get a mix in that's problematic, there are imbalances that really interfere from really getting a clear feeling from the song as a whole, the message.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of a combination of the technical and maybe the musically intuitive things that kind of mesh together.
So do you see yourself producing in the future, actually being there as the stuff is recorded?
I've been involved in productions, many, and
as a producer or recording engineer, because I know
in
there's
bands
a difference.
where we were self-produced bands, and where I've been involved in projects where I have helped to produce things. She's still up?
She
Your daughter?
is still up, apparently.
Wait, is this school night?
No, it isn't. She's got the whole week off.
Oh, that's why you said, right. Okay.
Week and a half, spring break.
Put her on.
I can't. I think she went to the bathroom.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I have been involved in production. I think as a mastering engineer, even though you might not be, assigned like the name of being part of the production, you are very much part of the production, and you almost become, in a sense, you almost dictate this final phase of how everything's going to sound, and you kind of take control of it.
Well, I've seen your setup. Your setup is such that you could have people in there doing. You couldn't bring a drum kit in. That'd be a little bit too much. But you could have somebody in there with a guitar and a microphone, laying down guitar parts, recording them. Right?
Yeah, I've done it, but I don't know. But my space is not sufficient for bringing in
not for drums anyway.
Vocals or whatever would be fine.
Drums are huge.
But my space is not big. It's okay for mastering because I have it very specifically tailored acoustically.
I think somebody like our mutual acquaintance Scott Rudd could come in there with his guitar. You know how he's very low. You guys call it lo-fi. He's minimalistic. He gets in there. He could record a whole album with you right there on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, Keith. One of the songs that
Keith of the Shivers, which
the
Alex
Shivers.
is also a drummer in.
Yeah, I do. Well. Sometimes I play with the Shivers, and
very talented people. Those.
Yeah. Well, you did a video for one of his songs, which will probably be in your upcoming film.
Yes.
With a bunch of jackasses in it.
and I don't make a cameo, by the way. I do not.
Anyway, Keith came here one day and we did a podcast a long time ago with Mark. This was an old podcast we did called Fistful of Cables, and we had him come on. We interviewed him, and we said, "Can you play a song?" And so I just had one mic, and I just kind of aimed it, and decent, I guess, proximity, and he sang and played a song. That song was not only used on the podcast, but it was used for a later album. That recording that we just I just put it
just on the spot, on the fly, did it.
Yeah.
That is the creative mind at work.
What?
The creative mind is a clock. The creative mind just wants to do what it wants to do, and you have no choice but to do it. And that's how it works.
You're right. And a good performance. Bless you.
Thank you.
With music, a good performance with someone who just can sing and get a sound. As long as you don't screw up that signal path coming into the mic and the mic pre, whatever it is, and you could capture it, and you know where to aim the mic and where to put it in the specific room. If you have those basic understandings, you could record something that could just turn out. Yes, it could end up on an album. There are really no rules that says you can't record in a bedroom and have something come out.
You can record anywhere. You can record the Beatles. I read stories about how they would record in bathrooms and in hallways because they were looking for a certain kind of a sound
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, the song Mother Nature's Son from the White Album was recorded completely by Paul, by himself, and he wanted this big, enormous drum sound. So he just took the drum kit out into the hallway at Abbey Road and recorded it, put the mics at a distance to get a kind of a weird, kind of an echoey drum sound. Mm-hmm. So you would hear this boom, boom while he's playing it. I'm going to give you you are the horse's mouth when it comes to music. I want to know what you're listening to now.
What am I listening to? Wow. It's like whenever I have friends over, we all just like, I'm going to show you this, and they'll show me that, and we'll just like blow through like YouTube videos and new bands. So it's a combination of, I just went for a run today, and I don't even really know how this band got on my phone, but the band this is the last thing I listened to. I'm going to open it up and tell you what it was. Hopefully, they're called, the band is called Spoils? Or is it Alistair Roberts? Let me see. Now I have to look this up. And I'm not even into it yet. It's just that it was on my phone because I somehow got it, and that's what I was listening to. I'd probably define it as sort of kind of punk, a little pop, like pop punk.
Pop punk.
Yeah, so that's what I was just listening to. Besides that, the last thing I listened to were two projects I was working on. One of which was that Norwegian singer. Mm-hmm. I did a job for actually a guy on Long Island. It's a great record. I mean, I think it's okay to drop these names because, it's only promotion for them.
Go ahead, drop them.
His name he's a doctor on Long Island. And he's also a musician. And his name is Anthony. I want to make sure I'm going to pronounce his last name right. So I'm looking at my, it doesn't matter, but he does like classic rock. Mm-hmm. And that's something I was listening to. Putting on, but I mean, I'll be honest, like I am just all over the map with music. Sometimes I'm in the mood for listening to like tranquil, relaxing, ambient music, even like meditation music, as corny as that might be. Meditation. I listen, but some of the classics, like I think the album by Kitaro, Kitaro, Silk Road, which is a 2-volume set. It's like 2 albums, and he released it. It was like in 1980 or something. I think that is an unbelievably beautiful record. I highly recommend it if you enjoy like peaceful, relaxing, kind of transcendental, spacey kind of music.
All right.
It is unbelievable, I think.
I guess I'll throw a clip from that into that.
Yeah, and you could.
What'd you say the name of the record was?
And then you could be sued by Kitaro.
After you're talking him up, yeah.
You
might actually get a
Silk Road, and you want to look up Silk Road 1 and 2, and beautiful music. Some people would probably say it sounds very like dated and almost over the top, but I think it's really nice. I've been listening to that for a long time.
I've been listening to I've been listening to a lot of Peter Gabriel.
Yeah,
I love his.
Did you listen to old Genesis when he was?
No, I didn't. I have all those records, but I don't listen to them that often. I'm not a big progressive rock kind of a person, so I'm not like into Gentle Giant or King Crimson or things like that. Or Yes, I'm not really Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I really like the. Which album is it? The Melt album from Peter Gabriel, which was, oh goodness gracious, I gotta look it up.
Did it have any hits on it?
Yeah, Games Without Frontiers and Biko. This is the, what is it? It's the third album that he did with his only the name Peter Gabriel on it. He did 4 albums.
Yeah. What was
all
his
called-
big hit that was
They
in
were all called Peter Gabriel
Right.
until So came out, which was in
So,
87 or 88,
that
something
was
like that.
that had the song that was in the movie Say Anything with John Cusack.
Yeah, In Your Eyes. It
In Your
also
Eyes,
had,
beautiful song.
It also had Sledgehammer and Big Time
Yeah.
and what else? He had a bunch of yeah. That was okay.
Amazing how he really,
So yeah,
how he really
he is.
morphed himself into like that pop.
He
direction.
is an incredibly gifted musician on many fronts, not just in pop or rock and roll or theater or theatrical rock or progressive rock. He's also an enormously talented composer. He has these preoccupations with world music, you know.
Yeah.
His score for The Last Temptation of Christ is one of the greatest scores I've ever heard. I have that actually on CD. I bought a physical copy a long time ago and listened to it constantly. Actually, I bought it on tape, wore out the tape, and then got the CD.
Yeah.
As well as Passion Sources, which is the music that inspired him to do the score. He just incredible stuff.
I know. I mean, you can't argue that. Very prolific.
Also, from what I
lyrics.
understand, he was one of the first proponents of digital recording. So he had actually started working in digital recording long before it even became fashionable.
Yeah, he was the kind of person who always seemed to have a jump start on technology and the future.
Plus, he is about a lot of the preoccupations that you have: rhythm, percussion. He's the only guy I know who puts xylophone on his stuff. You know, he's very much into xylophone. He's into surdo. You know, surdo drums. Those big bass African drums.
You
That was
know,
also-
Mark had a band named Surdo.
Yeah, but I spoke to him about it, and he said it had nothing to do with that.
No,
the
I
name,
know.
the title of the name of his band had nothing to do with that instrument. That was actually on the previous episode I recorded with him.
Oh, he mentioned
talked about-
Surdo?
He played for me some of his demos,
Yeah, it's good.
and I listened. Yeah, it is good. It is really good, actually. And
He
It's kind of like-
recently got hold of an old recording. I think he said he'd record it directly to CD or something from
Really?
quite a long time ago in the 90s, I think.
well, this
Early
stuff
90s.
he played for me was like 4-track. I think a 4-track Tascam recorder or something like that.
Oh, maybe that's what it was, yeah.
Painstakingly, and I told him painstakingly.
I
because-
can't remember I know that you've done, like, you did a documentary on Dirt Bike Annie, but did
Well-
you ever sing in a band or play?
No.
Okay.
No, I did not.
You just
I
appreciated
tried. I tried guitar, and I didn't have the patience for it. I know a little bit of piano, keyboards. I've done music like that. I've done music in that kind of Peter Gabriel sense of just mixing different things together.
Yeah, because you do a lot of interesting stuff with your compositions.
Yeah,
know,
it's you know what the funny part about it is it's too easy now. It's just way too easy. I remember busting my ass to do certain things that you can just do with a couple of keystrokes on a computer now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would take weeks to try and work out like a song or a track or something like that, and then with the computer, I did like that. You know, Yo Bill.
Yep,
thing.
that was cool. And you used that online
What was the
Theremin.
turnaround
What's
time
it
on
called?
that? It was like a week. I think it took me a week to make that.
Yeah, well, it was pretty layered, you know.
Fucking thing sucks. Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it. I don't know what that means to play us out. What does that mean? Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I can't do it. Fucking thing sucks. What does that mean? To play us out. We'll do it live. I can't do it. Fucking thing sucks. I can't do it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks. Fucking. I don't know what that means to play us out. What does that mean? Fucking thing sucks. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. I can't do it. Fucking thing to play us out. I can't do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. To play us out. Sucks. We'll do it live. To play us out. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Fucking thing sucks. I don't know what that means, to play us out. What does that mean? Fucking thing sucks.
You also did something else. Well, you pieced together a lot of the intros to the shows, to your podcasts.
Well, the editing, a lot of this gets edited down.
What do you use for an audio editor?
I prefer Adobe Audition.
Yeah, that's good.
I like it. It's just a much better interface. I record, nowadays my new system, my setup is different. I record my audio on SoundTap, streaming audio recorder, because I like the sound of it.
Right.
And I record my guest. I record you right now. You're on Audacity.
Okay.
On another computer. And then I put I mix down those two tracks together. But I don't really, I don't like Audacity. It lacks the, the depth.
You don't have as much control with like effects and stuff like that.
Yeah. It doesn't let me, it's like
I haven't used it.
It gives you a waveform file as it records, and I'm looking at it right now, which is convenient, but not the best. But it's free, so you really can't complain. Whereas Adobe Audition cost me some money back then. All those programs back then were very expensive, like $300, $500, $600, $700. Nowadays they're a lot cheaper.
I know. Like you could get Logic Pro for $200. But at one point, I think it was like, I don't know,
probably
like $500
$2,000,
or $600 or something, maybe more. Yeah.
Yeah, like back in the late '90s, with those programs were like the editing programs too.
Yeah, I've over the years I've invested a lot of money in software, different workstations and plugins. The prices have come down. There was a point where like there was a company name called Algorithmics, and you would. To buy 3 plugins, you had to spend $6,000.
Gee whiz!
And a plugin is literally just a tool that you use within your workstation environment.
These are software, right?
They're just software EQs, digital EQs, with a GUI, graphic user interface, and each one of them had a different sound. But today, you could get something comparable for $150 that would do everything in one.
That's really interesting. I can't believe that prices have come down so much. They probably came down because it stopped being a professional proprietary thing. And it started becoming more public, and more people were buying it, so they reduced their price and actually improve it too.
But also, there are 100 times more software companies now making specialized software, like for stuff I do. And when the competition increases, the prices go down.
Yeah, I was me and my friend Andrew were looking at these animation programs, and this one is incredible. This one particular animation program, looks incredibly easy to use. It's like $30. And this would cost like over $2,000 in 1999 if you were trying to do that back then.
When I first started mastering, this was like in '95. And
wasn't it all still tape back then? Still tapes?
No, we were making PM CDs, pre-master CDs, which I still even do today. But at the time, the CD recorders were just coming out, and there was like the Yamaha 400T. There was a precursor to the Yamaha 400T. I think that was like like one of the first like CD burners that you could use and make a digital master. A pre-master CD, which you would then send to the replication plant. That recorder was like $2,000.
Okay, I'm going to blow your mind. There was a scene in, there was a documentary made about Metallica a long time ago called A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica. And it was about the making of their Black album. You know, that one with Enter Sandman and all that?
Yeah. Yep.
Like in the early 90s.
Yep.
And they actually had one of those machines you're talking about, because they showed there was about 2 minutes 3 minutes toward the end of the documentary that was devoted to mastering the album. And they were mastering it on that.
What's the documentary called?
A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica.
I'd like to see that. That's cool.
I have a VHS of it somewhere, but I think you could probably find it someplace. You could probably maybe look on YouTube or something like that.
Yeah. And now now you could get a CDR burner, an internal one, for $30. You know, if you want an external, maybe $50. But I don't even know if people are buying external burners anymore.
I have one, and I have one in the new computer. And it's just standard gear now. I think what we're moving into is Blu-ray. We're going to be moving into burning everything on Blu-ray discs.
I think discs
because that's 25 gigs. 25 gigs of raw storage you can throw in there.
Maybe for backing up, right? But I think I
would love to do that because it would, you know, I mean, the only problem is the Blu-ray technology hasn't become really standard in computers yet. We're still in the DVD phase.
Yeah, I mean, DVD holds, 4.3 gigabytes. So if you're going to back up, but media is so cheap right now that you could get, a 2 or 3 terabyte drive.
Oh, yeah. You could definitely get it for cheaper.
And then there's cloud storage now. So I actually think physical media backing up is eventually going to fall on the wayside. And I think cloud storage will be so cheap.
I don't know about cloud storage. I feel bad. I don't feel good about that.
I'm not
saying I feel like
now,
there's so many things that could go wrong with that, and you can lose everything.
I know people are still going to back their stuff up, but you're going to see 5 terabyte drives for $100, $80, then $50, and
Well, I got. We went to Best Buy a couple weeks ago, and I picked up, just to have it as a backup external drive, just a passport hard drive, and it's a 1 terabyte, and I got it for $50.
Yeah,
you could get a 2 terabyte one for like 80 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like that. You're going to have storage up, but again, you can't really rely on it. It still worries me because friends continue to message me about their failing hard drives.
Well, you know that if you have a spinning hard drive, you're supposed to spin it up at least once a month, or else the mechanism could dry up.
Yeah.
So that's important. A lot of people have these old hard drives, spinning drives. They have them stowed away, and then they don't work. It's because you haven't spun them up every month.
Yeah.
It's it's like a mechanism that has spinning parts. So
yes,
there's lubrication in there and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
always have to run it up at least once in a while. It's like running water during the summer so that your pipes don't freeze.
Right.
Or during the winter, sorry. Okay, good advice. And I'm going to wrap this one up.
Great. Well, it was great catching up again, and
great to catch up.
Very happy to be a guest on BlissVille again.
All right, and this is going to be the last BlissVille for a while I get the frequent wire thing up and going, which is going to be a new podcast network. Again, Alex, you're invited to produce any kind of podcast you want for the show. As long as it's not smutty, then we'll be fine.
Okay. Thanks.